Today we're pulling up to the track with two of our fastest cars that we've built here on the Nivlac 57 YouTube channel, and it's not just for content. Some of the largest car channels on YouTube are going to be at this event as well, and we're not just showing up to spectate. Nivlac 57 is suiting up, strapping in, and throwing down. Let's see if some of the big dogs can actually back it up. The first car that we're bringing to the event is my 1995 Camaro, and it features the OG platform for the channel, which sort of blossomed our popularity. This has the Amarabara, the Redneck 2JZ, the Vortec 4200 out of a Trailblazer. Over the past 7 years, we have refined and developed this platform, and we're making over 1,000 wheel horsepower with this thing with only 32 pounds of boost. Now, the last time that you guys saw this car, we had just run it down the track for the first time. We only did 8th mile hits, but it went a 572 in the 8th mile, on only 20 pounds of boost. And today we're gonna run it out the back and see what this thing can do in the quarter mile. But before we do that, we need to adjust a few things on the car so that we can actually stage it in a competitive race. So let's get to it. All right, something that we need to improve on the Camaro is how long it takes for it to get onto the two-step. Now, as you can see here, I have my log up on this side of the screen, and this is showing where in my Spark map the car is when I'm trying to spool the turbo. And you can see that our timing in that region is pretty soft. We could definitely spice this up quite a bit. So I'm gonna throw probably close to 10 degrees of timing at it in this area and see if it gets onto the two-step any faster. So let's give it a shot. I should mention that it took about 8 seconds for it to hit the two-step in our previous testing, so let's see how good we can get it. That was still too slow, so I threw more timing at it. So that's about what I ended up with there. It definitely seemed to have improved the time. Still takes like 6.5 seconds to get there, so it's not 100% where I'd like to be, but there's some other strategies that we might be able to try in the future. Next, we need to get a bump button wired up on this thing, and we have to add one of my least favorite things, a steering wheel button. So basically how a bump button works is you hold the trans brake with your one hand, and then you have to bump the car in with your other hand. Now, ideally you'd like your one hand to be on the steering wheel so that when you launch the car, you're not just going down the track without your hands on the steering wheel. To do that, I have one of these buttons here. It's just a little momentary switch with one of these curly Q wires, whatever you want to call them, coming off the back of it. The reason I hate these is because they get tangled up with everything and they're just generally annoying, but there's not really a better solution to it other than like a bang shift Billy button or something like that. But this is what I got, so this is what we're gonna go with. Alright, I'm still not happy with how long this thing takes to hit the chip, so we are going to make another adjustment. We're actually going to switch the turbine housing on this thing. We currently have a 1.300 turbine housing, and we're going to change it to a 1.00. Effectively, what we're doing is we are changing how the gas is directed into the turbine. By going to a smaller turbine housing, you are decreasing the cross-sectional area, and increasing the velocity of the gas as it goes into the turbine blades, which allows you to spool it faster. Usually this increased velocity is at the cost of flow, so you'll find that you won't be able to make quite as much power as you could with a larger turbine housing. I don't think we are near the cap of what the turbo can provide, so I'm willing to make that trade. Alright guys, you remember this car? If you guys remember, we took this car on 6 Summer. And we were having the same issues that we're having with the red car in that it was taking a while for this thing to spool. Huge shout out to the guys over at Bullseye. They actually sent us this turbine housing right here. It is a 1.00 AR housing, and I'm actually going to rob that turbine housing off of this car and exchange it for the one that's on the red car to see if we can get the red car to spool a little bit faster. That did the trick. Now we're down to 5 seconds to get to the 2-step, and at the same RPM where it was making 11 pounds of boost, we're now at 20 pounds of boost. We might have to back the 2-step down a couple hundred RPM just to keep the car from wheeling, but that should do the trick. The other car that we're bringing is my dad's 1983 Ford Fairmont Futura. It has one of the platforms that we recently started to feature on the channel, the Japanese Coyote, the LS of Japan, some people call it the Tokyote, the Nissan VK56. The last time that you guys saw this, we had just installed a fresh example of a junkyard Nissan VK56, now featuring VVT. And we ran it at the track, and it went 886 on only 16 pounds of boost. To say that these engines are impressive would be the understatement of the century. This engine is almost completely stock. The only upgrades that we perform to it is oil pump gears from our friends over at Boundary Racing, and of course we installed a massive turbo on this thing. This is a Force Performance 8082, but we have a few things to adjust on this car as well. This thing makes gobs of torque. I think this thing was leaving at like 2,700 RPM and only 2 pounds of boost, and it still managed to annihilate the 275s that we have on the back of this thing. The car's only going a 132/60 foot, and frankly, I think we can get a lot more out of it. While I think we could adjust the suspension, maybe move some weight around, and maybe make a few other adjustments, I think the easy solution for this thing is to try to put more tire on it. So let's get to it. All right, here's the deal. These radials are not working. Now, I know a lot of you in the comments have said that it's because you're using a ET Street SS compound and all these grooves and stuff are screwing with the contact patch and all that kind of stuff. You might be right, but we've not really had great success with radials in the past. And frankly, I think with a little bit larger slick, we can get to where we want to go. So let's figure out what we can do for a slick. With a wider tire now on the Futura, it was time to get this thing onto the track. So let's take this thing to the Throtl Throwdown. The whole premise of the Throtl Throwdown was to have a shootout among 8 different YouTube channels. Many of them are not known for drag racing content, which was a little bit confusing to me, but I will say overall that they were a lot faster than I was expecting. While I would have loved to have run in the main event, we were there as exhibition cars, and our goal was to try and put on a good show, so it was time to make a pass in the VK56 Fairmont. Now, what I didn't tell you guys was that the tires that we put on the Fairmont were actually used tires, and obviously they spun pretty bad when my dad was making his pass. I know, you guys are probably going to flame me in the comments, but hey, we got a budget too. So he threw me in the car so that he could watch the suspension and see if we could get the thing dialed in. But before that, I have a bit of a public service announcement, and that is, keep an eye on your fellow racer. Before I made my pass, I happened to glance over at Throtl, the largest YouTuber that was at the event, and I was checking out his McLaren. I was looking at the driver's side rear wheel and admiring how they designed sort of an asymmetric pattern into the wheel. Then I looked at the driver's side front wheel and I noticed that it didn't have an asymmetric pattern like the rear did. Turns out the rear wheel was bent. When I walked over to the car, I was met with kind of a neat surprise. I was walking over to obviously tell him about his bent wheel, but he immediately pulled me in and gave me a handshake and was very, very welcoming. And I've met a lot of, big names in the industry, and it was neat to see that Tavarish, with his 3.1 million subscribers, still had that kind of attitude. Now, I was happy to tell him how much of a fan I was, but there was a more pressing issue at hand. I quickly informed him that, hey, buddy, your wheel's bent. And he was very thankful that I pointed it out to him, and him and the event staff decided that it was not safe for him to be running his car, and so Scrap Life Lee actually threw him the keys to one of his extra cars that he had at the event, and Lee raced his car against his car. I apologize for getting a little bit long-winded with this, but I just was kind of blown away with how friendly everybody was with the whole situation, and I just wanted to share.
One and two, and here we go.
So let's get back to our passes with the Fairmont Futura, and hopefully we can improve the performance. Unfortunately, that was the best we could muster with the Futura, but let's get on to the one and only pass we made with the red car, because it was a spicy one. Alright, I'm gonna fully admit I made a couple mistakes on this pass. It just so happened that the combination of mistakes happened to line up and make it so that something bad didn't happen. First off, I accidentally put the car into second gear after the burnout. And that means I launched in second gear. I should have realized that there was a problem when I tried to bump in the car and it didn't move, and that was because it was in second gear. I wasn't trying to burn the guy down next to me, but I was trying my best to get it staged and it just wasn't working. The other mistake that I made was that I left it with the 1008 wheel horsepower tune in the car. I had intended to work my way up to that horsepower level, and I accidentally made it, well, the first pass on the car. Now, because of this, it ramped to like 36 pounds of boost in like 1 second. And if I had launched in first, this very likely would have made the car go sky high, and it probably would have come crashing down and done a lot of damage. But since we launched in second, we were good. I can only imagine how hot the transmission fluid was after the pass, but holy crap. 845 at 166? Are you kidding me? That's insane. And frankly, after that pass, I was good. We need to give this thing a good look over and check out the health of this engine. Pull the oil filter apart, maybe do a compression check, you know. In other words, it needs a checkup. I think we have abused this thing quite enough, and the fact that it went 166 miles per hour is just insane. So we decided to call it there. Overall, the Throtl Throwdown was a wonderful time. It was so cool to have so many of you come up and say hi, and it's always fun to have people give their guesses as to what's under the hood of both cars. I gotta say a huge congrats to Scrap Life Lee for taking home the win. With that, I'm gonna end this video off here. If you enjoyed today's video, share it with a friend, hit the hype button, like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.